Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Bear, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, Doug, great to be here.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, so I think we just spent an hour trying to figure out what to talk about for the next hour, but I think we got it. I'm pretty excited.
Good rehearsal, guys. Good rehearsal.
Doing a lot.
Yeah, good rehearsal. So I'm going to be Kenny's 10th edition coach. And I'm going to teach him how to play 10th edition. Wyatt is going to teach him how to get good and get his ELO ranking up. We're going to talk about that for a minute. I think that's
True.
it.
I mean, honestly, but also, while as compelling of information that is, we also discovered tonight that any Britney Spears song can apply to the title of a podcast about Warhammer 40K and GW in general.
Oh yeah, just GW in general. There's what? I mean, we got all the greatest hits. We got Hit Me Baby, One More Time. We got Toxic.
Yeah.
I'm a slave for you.
I mean, even just any lyric taken out of context works. I mean, because I'm a slave for you is in Toxic, right? Like,
oh, it is. Dang it.
So like, oops, I did it again. You know, like literally anything works, bro. And then we went 1 degree past that, and we were like, quit playing games in my heart.
Yep.
You know, over this Fulgrim business. So it's like, I feel like
90 boy bands even.
I feel like you can expect to see a new style in Spiky Mix coming up.
Apparently, NSYNC is going to drop a new album.
They were at a show this weekend.
It's very exciting.
People lost their shit this weekend.
Understandably.
It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah. The NSYNC fucks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
That was like one of my favorite Ted Lasso scenes where he's teaching them the bye.
Yep.
He's like, it's the No Strings Attached album, guys. They're puppets. And he's like showing them the dance moves, and they're like, oh, fuck. Shit. Well, I was like, I laughed for like 6 minutes, dude. After that.
Starts to make sense.
All right. Well, so we got some stuff to talk about. We had to dig deep tonight, though, to get some compelling content.
I mean, GW's just like, they're not making it easy. They're slowing. It's cat logic. They're slowing things down to speed things up again. See, makes sense.
I miss when GW had the zoomies.
I think GW
so
definitely
we could talk
had
about stuff.
The zoomies.
They're making it hard. You know who else is making it hard? Wyatt Turk. As we roll out to the Cave of Wonders and touch nothing but the lamp.
Gotta keep it hard out there. Would you rather have as a roommate Colonel Sanders or Ronald McDonald?
Didn't we just talk about how there's like a random rooster in my backyard? Not my backyard, but like further yonder.
You don't eat roosters.
Huh?
You don't eat roosters, man.
No, but like that's my whole thing. Like when I go out front or in the backyard, I'm basically in every generic RPG soundtrack.
So do you love roosters or do you hate roosters?
I don't. It doesn't really bother me. It's just I notice.
I feel like you're dodging the question, Rob.
Colonel Sanders.
I'm impartial. I'm indifferent to.
So this is like, okay, now is these are my roommate. These are my roommates.
Yeah, you got to pick one as your roommate.
Personality trait would be like fully on brand. With the mascot. The 1990s Colonel Sanders actor, like sweaty and like freaking out, like
yeah. Like it's the mascot.
So we're talking like Kentucky Fried Chicken era.
Oh, before the KFC.
Before like it was kitchen fresh chicken, you know, like that. Like, in the immortal words of Colonel Sanders, "I'm too drunk to taste this chicken."
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've never gone an episode of this podcast without quoting Talladega Nights, or The Anchorman, or Step Brothers, and so
they're all the same movie.
I kind of have to go with my man Colonel Sanders. As fun of a roommate as I think Ronald McDonald would be, and he's got insane posse that I'm sure, because like if McRonald is your roommate, I'm sure that also means like the whole gang is over at your house sometimes.
You got Grimace and Birdie, Mayor McCheese. First of all, the Robbler's going through all your
Wait,
shit.
Mayor McCheese?
Yeah, don't you remember Mayor McCheese?
Who's the girl?
Birdie.
She's like a chicken sandwich person? Like that's what she represents?
I don't know what she represents.
They represent food that you eat, and Ronald McDonald is the apex predator, right? That's how I took this.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean,
Like Grimace is a chicken
higher
nugget.
up than Grimace.
He's
As we saw from the Grimace Shake disaster, Grimace is an eldritch god.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how I always took it. It's like, this is a bunch of people that are made of food, and I fucking eat them, and I made them. I am a god. Right?
It's bold, but I like it.
Ronald McDonald's terrifying, dude. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Just imagine you go into your living room in the middle of the night and there's just a clown watching.
He's a
TV.
clown, first off,
Nah,
dude.
dude. I don't
With
fuck with
like the
clowns.
power of life and creation at his fingertips, Frankenstein style. Like, nah.
On the other hand, Colonel.
He's just a drunk guy who's probably lightly racist who makes chicken.
Yeah, I mean, like that's problematic.
It is.
Also, your apartment is going to smell like fried chicken all the time.
I mean, but like I deal with boomers all the time, dude. I mean, anybody who goes by Colonel anything is
it's
probably-
I think this basically boils down to clown or boomer. Who would you rather live with? I just realized that.
this is what it comes down to.
Yikes.
Live with a literal clown or a boomer.
Clown.
Damn, when you break it down like that.
Very sad.
Yeah, that's right. No sleep till no clowns. That's right, man.
Dude, I'm not fucking with no clowns.
Where
Guess-
Sanders is a roommate. He'll always be in bed before you. Read some things from chat. Yeah.
When you get into some weird stuff, you have like Ronald call up some of his clown ladies.
Dude, we should do all
Clown ladies.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's got a whole other harem of creations that we don't see in the commercials.
Yeah.
Like, he's weird and twisted. And Colonel
I'm sure there's
Sanders,
some kinks you could explore.
with Sanders, I just got to make sure I'm not like recording anything when he's like around. Cause like, yeah.
Yeah, just don't watch football with him.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the Fry Kids?
Yes, I do.
They were little puppets.
Yeah.
I remember them.
Period. Seth is like, Ronald isn't Dr. Roxo. No, Dr. Roxo is like a washed up, like failed experiment of Ronald McDonald, dude. Like, he ain't nothing. Ronald McDonald literally has the power of life and death. He holds it in his hands, dude.
He's classy. He does his coke, backstage, out of the public eye. Whereas Dr. Roxo is just off the rails.
All Colonel Sanders does is make fried chicken and go by and uses Colonel as his qualifier, and that usually says enough about a person to know kind of their whole personality. I think it's a little safer in the end though, because like I do value my life. So if I've learned anything from the movie Poltergeist, stripe legging wearing clown fucks are not to be trusted.
It's true.
I mean, it's like I'd rather have a juggalo as a roommate than Ronald McDonald. Yeah. So I'm going with good old Colonel Sanders. Sanders is a drunk ass fried chicken maker, connoisseur.
Fair enough. What about you, Rob?
Oh, I'm not fucking around with the clowns, dude. And I live in the South, so I feel like I have to go with the Colonel.
He's like, there's a guy next door already who raises chickens. It looks exactly like him.
That's just a coincidence.
Genie snaps his fingers, and your roommate and then your neighbor's like, "Are we roommates now?" It's weird. I have this compulsion to move in with you. All right. Well, that's a good one. Thank you, Wyatt. As always, keeping it professional. Rob?
That was a good one. All right, I'll do some professional shit now. Well, if you play Age of Sigmar, this week is your week because a whole bunch of new Orruk War Clan stuff is coming out. Big pig himself, the Tusk boss on Maw Grunter, is $80 kit. Then they got the Weird Brute Rekkas for $60. Our boy's Big Boss 35. The Trug's Great Trog Herd. That's that new Trug, the Trogoth King. He's actually the only way to get him is in this combo box, unfortunately, at least at first. So a little disappointing there, I could see, for a lot of people, but if that's all you want, just gotta wait a couple months, I suppose. Orruk Ard Boys. So those actually I'm pretty stoked about because the Ard Boys, the previous Ard Boys models were the old Black Orcs from Fantasy, and now they've completely finally retooled them. All new sculpts, and they just look super fresh. Those $60 a box. Zogrok Anvil Smasher is $45. The Orruk War Clans Vanguard box is $140. Now that's the one with all the what are they? The Cruel Boys. That's a Cruel Boys box, basically. So if you didn't get those from the Dominion era, well, you might want to pick that one up. And then the Gloomspite gets Rabble Rouses miniature. He's $35. He was previously only available in the big old Regiments of Renown box. So he's the first one to come out of those and actually be available separately. And of course, they got the Reign of the Brute, the second book of the Dawnbringer saga for $50 US. So that's basically all that's happening on the GW front. It's been a lot of rumors and stuff. Some pictures out there of the Legion Imperialis book, rule book was spotted. Apparently, a lot of folks on YouTube already have them. The rumor is that they had to send them back because there's some sort of misprintings in there. And, insert conspiracy theory here as to what those misprints are. If it's just innocuous rule stuff, there's people saying things wild, like placeholders for political parties were in there and such. I don't know if that's true, but it'd be really interesting to see if it wasn't, if it was for sure. But so far, none of that. So if they did recall the rule books, have to do a completely new printing, then sort them in the boxes, open the boxes up, replace the rule book, etc. Conceivably, we're looking at a 3-month delay. If they recognized it early enough, say they realized it supposed to come out in August, they realized it in July, probably looking at 3 months from July. So October, which is only a month away. That would be my call on it if they had to do like a rush production of the book. But unfortunately, that's going to push more stuff back, which isn't what we need right now because there isn't that much going on in the world of the worlds of Warhammer right now. So that's a little sad out there. Of course, we're all waiting on the big old balanced data slate results from this weekend, where most events will be using that. So that's going to be really fun to see. So happening today, tomorrow, and Saturday is the Atomic Mass Games mini extravaganza, which is super dope. They show off all sorts of new things for a lot of different games. I think this time they're going to focus, today they focus more on Marvel Crisis Protocol. Tomorrow will be Legion and Shatterpoint, and I think that's basically it. There might be some X-Wing. I forget. The official schedule has been posted up. You can check it out. So today they showed off a lot of new Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, some of the cards from miniatures that we already know are coming, like some of the new X-Men stuff, which they all look pretty good. New Asgard minis, threat level 6 Thor, which might be pretty interesting. New Loki and such. So if you're in the Marvel Crisis Protocol, there's definitely that. And the new core set drops next month. A bit on the apprehensive side, this week, Star Wars Shatterpoint starters hit 40% off on Amazon directly from Asmodee. So for those of us that paid full retail price of $160 back in June, that's a bit of a feel badsy to have your starter set discounted 40% only a couple months later. I'm still going to buy the Marvel Crisis Protocol starter when it comes out next month, but I can see where a lot of people might be like, maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll wait till Christmas. Maybe I'll wait till January, because that is also $160. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So if it's for you and you want to get the dope new minis, hey, go for it. But it might be significantly discounted. I mean, the Shatterpoint starter that game is dope, and at $98 is a no-brainer to buy right now. Like, if you have any interest in Star Wars, any interest in skirmish games whatsoever, $98 is an amazing price for that kit, because the amount of figures it comes with and the terrain itself. But for the rest of us that already bought it, it's a little bit of a feel bad thing. But it will always be good to have more players to play with, I suppose. So definitely hit that up on Amazon if that's your thing, or maybe your local game store will match the price. It's really hard to say. Some other cool Games Workshop news. Weta Workshop announced plans for a line of premium collectibles in 1/6 scale, which, if you fill in the blank there, probably going to be some Warhammer statues. Their stuff is super dope. Most of their stuff goes for $399, and it's 1/6 scale is roughly 12 inches tall, because you figure a person is 6 feet tall. So if it's 1/6 scale, then you divide by 6 and boom. But if you make it of a Space Marine, which is 8-9 feet tall, then yeah, it's going to be, you're going to hold it and it's going to come up to your chest, right? It's going to be a very big figure. Yeah.
Hold it and it comes up to your chest.
Yep. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So their stuff's amazing, super incredible. They have amazing, talented artists over there, and each one, has their own style, and they always put their own take on it and things. And you can go over there and check out the website. They got, all sorts of different movie brands and things over there. So definitely going to be very interesting to see where they go with that, because they didn't show any pictures. They didn't say what direction they were kind of going with it. You could make some inferences from the backgrounds, from the interviews. It seems like there might be some Sigmar stuff as well. But I'm sure it's going to be pretty amazing stuff, whatever they do come out with. So, keep your eyes on that one, because that is going to be very, very interesting, I'm sure. Joy Toy announced today unveiled today that they are going to do a set of Custodian Guard, a 5-man action figure set.
Holy shit.
That are up for pre-order right now. And they look pretty good. I was kind of waiting on them. They came out with the All-Us Terminators. And I was like, And then I was like, maybe I'll wait for the Custodian Guard. And here they are. So definitely looking pretty fresh. I'm just kind of bouncing through my notes here, because there's a lot going on. Team USA, or the U.S. national team, as they are officially known by, announced today that they're going to be electing a new captain, and they went through the process. There's a huge ass flow chart of all the stuff that the captain's going to do from now until the WTC event, September of next year, I believe, 2024. So they're going through a process. If you can actually apply for it right now over on their website. I think they're electing them on the 17th, which I believe is Monday. So if you're interested in that position, or even being part of the team, go hit up the website. Just Google it, or look for the article on Spiky Bits. We covered it as well. Very interesting stuff there, that they're so organizationally inclined, and all the things that the captain's responsible for. It's a pretty significant amount of stuff. So if you're just interested in the wild flowchart, definitely check that out, because it was a pretty fun read for me personally. I think it was pretty dope there. Couple of other things that I think are worth mentioning. There was a reveal for a new Star Trek miniatures game. The previous one, I believe, was called Attack Wing. It was X-Wing style, in that X-Wing style. Now this one is going to be more of an Armada style, if you're familiar with that, for capital ship style. Very similar to Star Wars game. they unveiled it's going to be called Into the Unknown, and the starter, I believe, is going to be $160, and they're looking at a release date of April 2024, and that's from WizKids. So, of course, they showed the Enterprise D, from Next Generation, and another ship I didn't recognize, and a bunch of little shuttles and things like that. And they all had the little dials on the different, facings and things. So it was very Armada-esque. As a matter of fact, a lot of people coined it Starmada, Star Trek and Armada. They're like, oh, the new Starmada game. Yeah, obviously. But they unveiled a lot of organized play stuff, because WizKids is always very into the organized play portion of it. So, and obviously it all comes pre-painted and things. So maybe if you're looking for something different, that might kind of be the way to go. Just some things to keep in mind there. And unfortunately, Games Workshop did announce a price hike in local currency in Poland that would take effect next month. No idea why just Poland.
Yeah, what the hell?
No idea why they raised the actual cost to retailers in the UK last November. Who knows? It's GW. But insert Britney Spears title and or lyrics here.
Yeah. Fucking did it again.
Like playing with my heart. Yep. So that's the news for this week, as far as I can tell. Oh, sorry. This just came in, and I left it up on my screen so I'd remember it, and then I almost forgot. The ATCs, the American Team Championship, that's once a year in Chattanooga, Tennessee, traditionally some part of that area in Tennessee, has announced a team circuit event now. And they just put up the official stuff. The first one's going to be November 4th to the 5th in Topeka, Kansas. There will be a 40K event and a Age of Sigmar event as well. So the 40K event's a 5-player team, just like the normal ATCs. 32 team max, 2 days, 5 rounds. AOS is 4 players, 16 team max, 2 days, 4 rounds. Both the winning teams will receive a ticket to the championship event in July of next year in Chattanooga. So look, I think there's at least 2 more of those that's happening in the next couple of months into early spring, and they might add some more event dates as well. So sometimes you can't make the big event. Maybe check out one of the circuit events. I think there's one slated for Florida, North Carolina. And this one here will be into, I think it's Topeka, Kansas. Yes, Topeka, Kansas. But you can check out all the information over on ATC's Facebook page. And they're all going to be hosted by Away Games with support from the Green Dragon Gaming Shop and Kaiju Gaming Lounge, which I have no idea who they are. But I like the name. It flows. Now I'm done.
Well, let's take a quick break here from our sponsors and then jump into our meat and potatoes conversation for this evening. BaronofDice.com, the official dice sponsor of the Long War podcast. Use promo code LongWar5 for 5% off. If you're looking for a superior dice manufacturer, then look no further than Baron of Dice. Custom artwork, faction representation, and crisp razor edge square dice. Remember to use promo code LongWar5. Again, that's BaronofDice.com, the official dice sponsor of this podcast. All right, we hatched a lot of ideas on the After Hours, which obviously you can check out on our Patreon page if you want to, hear all the crazy shit Rob was talking about earlier. Shit's never worth missing out on, guys.
I don't know how people have it clip that and screen capped it, and
endless source.
I don't even know how I'm not canceled at this point.
For real. Some of the shit he says, you guys got to go check it out on Patreon. Anyway, a lot of things got talked about. I think we talked about ELO. We talked about speculating with Smash or Pass on factions. So I'll kick it over to Wyatt. Let him guide us in this conversation.
Yeah, so
I'd hit that.
yeah. Earlier today, StatCheck over at statcheck.com released their ELO-based player rankings. So
Boom, boom, boom.
pretty interesting. We've talked about ELO rankings before here on the channel and like why they're good, why they're bad, pros and cons, that kind of thing. So it's interesting to see all of this data actually put together in one place. And it's interesting to see how it differs from the ITC ranking system, which is based on the points system, whereas this ELO rating system is based on your wins, your losses, who you won against, who you lost against, and your win rate. And that's calculated into a numerical score. So, for example, like Manny Chima is number one in their ELO ranking systems right now. He has 2049.9 as his ELO ranking. And then you can look at wins, losses, draws, win rate percentage, and the primary faction they've been playing in 10th edition. That being said, this ELO ranking data pool has been going on since February 7th, 2022. So there's a lot of games in this data pool because this was updated 3 days ago, the most recent update. And so I'm on there. I haven't played in a year, but I'm on there from my games in 2022, right? Kenny is on there from his games in 2022.
Which is shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting to see. So, like, in some ways, you need to play a lot of games, but it's not necessarily required, right? Like, you don't have to play a million games to get a high ELO. You can play a lower amount of games and still rank very high. But in Kenny's case, he played 12 games in competition in 2022, and his ELO is like right smack in the middle because he has a 50% win rate. And so compared to the total list, still ranked fairly high, even with those 12 games. Now, playing lots of games is encouraged, right? I think part of this is a way to rank people in a way that actually accurately shows their skill on the global stage rather than like, you know, you have Joe Schmo who goes to 12 RTTs a year and, you know, has a 100% win rate because there's nobody in his town that can beat him, right? So in the same way that the ITC system has, you can only log so many RTTs as scores for your total ITC rank to stop that kind of stuff from happening, right?
Yeah, no, that's intriguing. So, you what goes into it then? Like, because it's like obviously it's more than just win loss. Like you said, the ITC's always been aware of the need to count different majors at different quality levels for the overall score, right? Like,
well, and that's their way of doing things with their points. And the point system has its pros and cons too. People like it, people don't like it for whatever reason. But the way that they do things is purely for their points system, whereas the ELO system is more so like, how many games did you win? How many games did you lose? On top of that, who did you win versus and who did you lose versus, right? So StatCheck is, as far as I know, I looked kind of through their website and I couldn't find an article where they talk about how they do their ELO rankings. Maybe it's older and I couldn't find it, but the basic average ELO system going back to its inception, like what they use for chess and stuff, is for each win, you add your opponent's rating plus 400. For each loss, you add your opponent's rating minus 400, divide that sum by the number of played games, right? And so that's where you kind of get, I don't know if they're doing this 400 system, like the quote unquote algorithm of 400, but just so you have an idea of how they could be.
So like in a perfect world where everyone has an ELOS ranking, that's kind of like the metric that you're inserting into that math. Like,
right.
So you can do that with a model like this.
Yeah, because a lot, I don't want to say all, but a lot of tournaments for chess and other systems that use ELO ratings, not for the whole tournament, but at least for the first round of the tournament, they have their pairings seeded by ELO ranking. And so that creates like a better environment moving forward, right? And we've talked about that before. Like, I think it would be better for the game if we used ELO ranking rather than ITC points. So I don't know, maybe this will catch on. It'll be interesting to see. I think it's a fun way to kind of like track how you're doing, because the ITC point system isn't all it's cracked up to be. Like, you could crush a tournament and there could be a lot of talented people there, but because it was 5 rounds, you're not going to get as many points as a 6-round tournament, right? And so you have like 2 GT winners. One is in like a city where a bunch of heavy hitters showed up to that event, and then one
but
is
the
in a
ELO
city
ranking,
where
if
it was
it
softer.
standardizes that across all matches, all match play, doesn't matter if it's at the game store or not. Like if it's ELO v ELO, like it doesn't change anything, right? Because that's why your ELO score doesn't go up that much if you're playing somebody with vastly lower ELO than you.
Yeah, it may not go up at all.
It might not go up at all.
And same as like, but if you lose to somebody, their ELO depends on points changes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's interesting because you mentioned that my ELO score was around what your ELO score was with a better win rate.
Right. So even though I haven't played in a year, I'm ranked like 1,700 something globally, whereas you're ranked in the 4,400s. However, my ELO rating was 1571 and your ELO was 1520. And that's based on number of games played, who you played against, and your win rate. So even though you only have 12 games played and I had something like 45 or something like that, like the ELO rating is closer than you might think. It's just that because you have so many people competing and the ELO ranks are so close, something that separates you from ranks might be a decimal place. Yeah. It'll be like 1520.8, 0.9, and then 1521, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's interesting because it used my model. The only model it used was in my LVO games and my SoCal games. So I was in a super competitive environment in super competitive regions, playing against probably people who did, with on average higher ELO scores than if I played a local World Trader tournament, I played here, I played there. So it reminds me exactly of like playing, like ranked Street Fighter games. You know what I mean? Like it's exactly, it seems like it's interesting. So your global ranking and your matchmaking scores are independent of each other, but dependent on each other simultaneously. So.
And it's funny because like we were talking about this because a friend and I were having a discussion about how like every time you bring up your secondary and tertiary placing metrics for tournaments, it can be this huge debate of like why one way is better than the other, or like the pros and cons of each. And it's weird because like we kind of had this figured, like it was fine. Like we had it figured out. And then because of a number of factors, the whole system got changed. And now you have a lot of really weird outcomes at tournaments that can kind of cause feels bads. And it can create environments where the competition doesn't feel like it should, doesn't feel fair the way it should be because of forcing all pairings to be random, something like that, or having opponent win percent versus strength of schedule. And you'll have these things where like at a tournament, the 2 players that should be playing for winning the tournament actually end up dodging each other. And so then it's like, it calls into question the validity of, the competition of the tournament and like who actually won the tournament and that kind of thing. And if we had an ELO system and you get rid of this stupid all random pairings all the time thing, and you just go to the first round is seeded, and then you go Swiss based on win-loss battle points from there, then it's fine. And it also stops some of the things that people are whinging about, like subrating, even though it rarely ever happened and ultimately didn't matter, but we changed the entire system because of it. It's like a whole thing. But I think this would be better overall for the system.
So what do I have to do to up my score?
Well, first and foremost, you got to play more. That's the thing. Yeah. Is like, this is kind of like the opposite of the ITC point system, where in some instances you can attend like 6 tournaments, win those 6 tournaments, win the ITC. that is in itself a huge accomplishment because, winning a tournament is not guaranteed, right? But this is like because it's based on you winning or losing versus the rank of your opponent, playing more games at denser fields of competition is more important than simply winning for points or like how many points you accrue, right? So the first thing you got to do is play more. Even if it's at an RTT, you got to play more games.
Yeah.
And then from there,
and they're drawing on the BCP data, so we got to make sure it's a BCP event for this system specifically.
Right. It's got to be logged.
Mm-hmm.
So beyond playing more games, you gotta have a high win percentage. So, I mean, for a long time, we've kind of advocated the more leisurely tournament experience of, put together a good list, play well, but don't sweat it, go 4-2, have a good time. And there's nothing wrong with
right. Well, especially if you're going 4-2, but your 2 losses are against the people with way higher elo than you, you're really not losing much elo.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's still a valid way to play for personal enjoyment. But if our goal here is I want to climb elo, I want to get me a big number, you got to win more. So you have to change your game plan a little bit more. That might require having more than a single faction to play.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to have every single one. Doesn't mean you have to go out and buy the faction that is most OP at the time, because as we know, the meta
are you sure?
Is a fickle mistress. And
we're not sure. We're going to do a segment on that next.
Yeah.
Well, no.
It's just a good point is like, if your goal is to win more games, then tying yourself to a single faction is kind of a bad move.
Yes.
Like even having one additional faction,
just like Street Fighter. I mean, like everyone's got a main, but the top level people can main swap.
Exactly. Right. So even if you want to main one faction the entire time, there might be a period of like, 3 weeks to a couple of months where your main faction is just not doing so high, and it would behoove you to have a backup just in case.
Yeah. As the meta shifts around, you have to be aware of the meta. So that's like the ultra. That's the ultra distillation of it. Is you can't ignore it. You have to track it, make the changes. Be willing to.
Yeah, I mean, so you just got to get those reps in, regardless.
Yeah, attending events,
but not aimlessly, right? You can't just play the same shit over and over again. You got to be like, hey, I read that this Eldar list is the hot tech. Let's do some games if you don't mind. Let's do some scrims right there because I got to see how it works. You can't just say I'm going to play with my friends every weekend and then think your elo score is going to go up. There's got to be some intent behind some of your training time.
What I'm saying is play against different factions, so the basics and like how to approach those games and such.
Yeah, you get a shadow box against multiple.
Yeah, I'm saying that's not even enough. I'm saying like me and Rob are gonna go to the Beats Lab, and I'm gonna be like, Rob, what's that X list that everyone's playing? Let's just get a couple games in with that. Like, you know what I mean? Let's do a couple turns of that.
Yeah, not just your buddy's list that he wants to play.
Yeah, but like there's you've gotta, and that's how I used to play, like pre 9th edition, pre 8th edition. Like I used to, so like I'm not unaware of that strategy. So you have to take the time you're playing your games and get the most out of them. And so I used to not even play entire games, bro. Like we would play like 6 games in a row. We'd only play like 2-3 turns.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, a lot of times in this edition, you can kind of see the way things are going by like 2, bottom of 2, top of 3-ish. Because like if somebody's already, way up, especially if you score some rando secondaries on 1, I mean, you can kind of look at the positioning of the board. You can do the same thing now.
Mm-hmm.
No, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so like, just play with a little bit more. I mean, if that's the focus, if I'm trying to get my elo up, I got to play smarter, harder, and more aware of the meta. I've got to be willing to be more flexible and, not just main one thing the whole edition, but be willing to slide in between other things.
And then just like go to events. Like there was a point brought up in the pre-show about like, I didn't go to X event because of Eldari and GSC. And my reply to that was like, well, there's really no point in skipping an event because of one faction unless your goal is to win the tournament. And it's like, did you have a legitimate chance of winning that tournament in the first place? But if your goal is to gain elo wherever possible, then avoiding big events is bad for you. So if you were going to go 4-2 anyways, like if you're going to win 4 games and then get like beat down by Eldar and GSC in rounds 5 and 6, then still go, because like you're probably not going to lose that much, if lose any, if those players are really good to begin with. So like you only stand to gain if that's the case. So like still go to those big events, get your games in, get your wins in.
Yep.
It's a good point, man. Let's move it on to this other section. 40K factions, smash or pass.
Ooh. Hold on, I've got to pull up the list. There's so many factions.
You need all the factions, yeah.
Yeah, I got to pull up my app because I forget some exist.
I don't know if like Imperial Allies, like, does that count?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go alphabetically. Sisters of Battle.
It's hard to say. Do we got a middle one?
What's the parameter? The parameters is like, do we think they're going to start seeing more play? Like they're going to be stronger on the tabletop?
Oh yeah, I guess we should. I mean, I was just going straight on sexual feeling, but okay. So in the wake of the data slate, we were discussing who do we think is going to be better, or like, climb and win rate. And it's like it's so hard to tell right now because there haven't been enough events using the new data slate to really get a litmus test. So what I suggested is like, if we're going to predict something, we should predict a rise in play rate or a fall in play rate, because that's something a little bit easier to determine, right? Because
so
like, so for example, like Custodians, right? Because they got nerfed, but they got nerfed in such a way that it caused kind of a feels bad. So do we think they're going to, even if they might end up doing well in competition, are they going to see an increase or a decrease in play rate?
Gotcha. So Sisters of Battle, I think increase.
Think increase?
They got a lot of...
Will not smash.
Yeah, okay. Fair. All right, what about Custodians?
I think you're going to see less of them. I think the people that are going to play them are going to be better at them, but I think you're going to see less people playing them.
I agree with that.
Would not smash, pass.
Yep. But Admech.
I think anything is better than what they're at. So
hey man, our guy Jason, he went and got podium at Smite Club with pre-data slate nerf Admech. Crushed it out.
Just goes to show you, get your reps in, know your opponent.
His handle is Dadmech.
I like that.
He's the real Dadmech.
Admech would smash.
Would smash?
Yeah, I think they're going to be good.
Eldari.
Can we just skip them?
Would smash.
Yeah, would smash. Imperial Guard.
Smash.
I don't think they got any detraction, to be honest.
I think all they got is bonuses, right?
Yeah.
You can't Overwatch with things like mortars and basilisks and whatnot anymore unless you have line of sight.
That was just ridiculous.
Yeah, they got a lot of points drops and tank stocks going up.
Tank stocks. Well, I mean, you can't Overwatch with the Baneblade, but I mean, you can still shoot with the Baneblade in combat.
Robo Dorns, dude. You don't need that Baneblade.
Yeah, Robo Dorns good. That can Overwatch.
Let's see. I'm going to skip our subchapter Space Marines and just do Space Marines all at once. But Chaos Demons.
Oh, I think they're about to pop. Yeah, Smash? Definitely. Yeah. They're about to pop off. They were good before, and I don't think they got any nerfs.
Okay. Chaos Knights.
Would not smash. Pass.
No, I think we're going to see more of them.
Monofaction?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, what about some Chaos Knights friends with benefits?
I think. Well, I mean, there's always that. I mean, there's that for Knights too.
I think that's going to go up a lot, especially with CSM, and Death Guard.
Yeah, 100%.
What about Chaos Space Marines?
100% smash.
Smash.
Would smash.
Okay. Death Guard.
Smash.
Yeah, I think they got some of the best bonuses.
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna see a big resurgence. Death Watch.
Would not smash.
That's a tough one.
Pass.
A lot of people are really jumping on board them. So I think you're going to see more people playing them, but I don't think you're going to see them doing as well overall.
I think I'd agree with that.
If that makes sense.
Drukhari.
I mean,
They kind of been absent
yeah.
for a lot of this, right? Or they just been mixed into Eldar lists.
They've gotten better monofaction. Ravager saw a lot of play, but not really monofaction. But now I think they have the tools, and the people that generally play Drukhari as a monofaction are out there. They're just waiting. They just needed something, right? They just just needed that tweak, and then the fucking all the calculus on the screen, like 100 calculations a second, then all that shit just goes off, and they're like, those dudes are savants. They play 40 chess and 40K.
Can you see their Colts?
Would smash.
I think you're going to see less of them.
Think so?
The rules changes made sense, but I think they were a bit exploited.
The crutches got taken away. They're not easy enough now.
I think you got the walking boots on now, the walking cast.
Okay. Well, Grey Knights.
I don't think they had any detractions, did they?
I mean, they've just been bad this whole.
Just
edition.
like maybe the standard battle tactic, not
would smash.
thing,
Would
but
smash.
yeah,
All
definitely
right.
smash. They're a different style of play. Don't get me wrong. Like they are not. They're the bounce around and score shit, where the custodies are hunker down and score shit. If that makes sense,
I guess
play wise.
I'm just kind of going off of what our team has been seeing a lot in competition in 10th. And it just seems like Grey Knights are chum in the water. Like they're just not much of anything. Guess we'll see. Imperial Knights.
Less play, probably.
Would not smash.
Yeah, I think they're going to see a drop off just because a lot of the easy modes have been taken away.
Well, not just that. It's the thing we've talked about before, like the whole home rulings. And now you literally cannot play them if there is home rules to go against them now. It is at that point. But the people that will play them will probably bring armature heavy lists.
Makes sense. Leagues of Votan.
Would not smash. Pass that.
Nah, people are going to be dusting them off.
The
only restriction to people playing Leagues of Votan right now is them not having enough models, because from 9th to early 10th, they got a huge points drop, right? So you can fill way more stuff. Now, the power level wasn't as great, but now not only is their power level better, but you can feel even more stuff. That is the biggest, literally Leagues players aren't going to have enough models to play with.
Buy more.
Is the problem right now.
Okay.
That's how I'm seeing it.
Necrons.
I don't think there's going to be any net gain or loss.
Yeah,
I've seen discussion that some of their tricks are a little overcosted at this point. The points changes hit them a little hard. I think I agree. I don't think we're going to see a drop in play rate. I think we're just going to see some list archetype changes.
If I had to make prediction changes, I would say you're going to see obviously less Lich Guard blocks,
Oh yeah.
but more warrior blocks now. Like there's just you can still do all the tricks. I mean, having the arc and the reanimator bot and the duders and the squads, it's going to cost more to do. So you might not be able to take two. So now you're going to take the one super big blob and then other supporting shit on the sides.
Smash.
This is still a game about.
Yeah, smash.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Orcs.
Smash. Predict a massive orc.
The
Wow.
Wagening. Yep. Smash. They got some interesting tech in this new points change. I think it's gonna take the world by storm. All right. Space Marines.
I mean,
Like all of them?
forever smash.
Forever smash.
I think you're always going to see a lot of people playing
reliable. And it's anytime you get a points drop on Space Marines, they're going to come out of the woodwork.
And well, that's just a fact. There was a points drop on the fun stuff. Dreadnoughts,
grav tanks, executioners, all that stuff.
and I mean, some of the stuff that you're seeing a little spammy and a little over effective for their points cost went up, but only slightly.
Yeah. Thousand Suns.
Smash. I think they're coming. I think they're gonna be coming out in droves, man.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think the change to Devastating Wounds is going to see them drop in play rate.
I think they got a preemptive nerf. And if you're playing T-Suns and doing well, you are playing 4D chess, I feel like at this point. Maybe. We don't know the shakeup yet.
I think a lot of the Thousand Sun stuff was getting by on Mortal Wound spam. And now that is changing to wounds without saves, but not spill over Mortal Wound type stuff.
So their effectiveness against, horde style enemies from Mortal Wound spam has gone down. But don't they still have like other means in which to deal with a bunch of one wound models?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. I think if we're keeping the same
isn't
dynamic,
most of their mortal wounds one damage? Most of their devastating wounds one damage?
yes and no. The psychic power stuff ranges in damage profile. I'm just going to go off of the same thing of like most of what we're seeing from the nerfs in this balance data sheet are removing the bumpers from the alley, so to speak. Like they're removing a lot of the easy mode stuff that was making
undoubtedly less DPS than they once had.
Yeah. And that's why I think we're going to see a drop off in play rate, because a lot of times the reason those armies are played really heavily is because it's easy to win with them. As soon as it becomes hard to win with them, people pivot to something else.
Fair.
True.
Tyranids.
I feel like at the Smash, there seems to be like a lot of Tyranid momentum, right? Like people.
I mean, they're getting their new codex.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like the same, momentum when Necrons came out or Death Guard came out after the starter box. But I mean, maybe they'll have staying power. I mean, GW is literally sold out of Tyranids. That should tell you something.
Smash.
Yeah. Smash.
Yeah. They don't even have the codex.
Tau Empire.
Oh, I think they got nowhere to go but up. It's definitely Smash.
It's like a smash that can't be stopped because they have nowhere to go. Yeah, like I get it.
World Eaters.
They definitely got better. And everybody's got a World Eater army from like February.
Yeah, you know what? That's true.
This
Man,
Smash.
and people want it to be. They want to play the fucking goddamn World Eaters.
Yeah.
So
I think
Smash. They're looking for an excuse,
Wait, didn't the World Eaters list top at like one of the bigger like 30-person events over the weekend with the new rules?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. I'm going to fact check that. Or towards the top. I don't consider Eldar. We'll just go with that. Look here.
Smash. I want to play World Eaters.
Events.
What's next? Rob's taking too long.
That's it.
Oh yeah, don't wait on me.
We did it.
That's it.
All
Did
right.
it.
We did it.
Oh, that was easy.
So in the chat said World Eater smash because custodians don't eat them for lunch every day anymore. It's true. Like a drop in someone else's nemesis is a rise in your, like this.
Makes
Nature
sense.
does not like a vacuum.
I mean, I do. I like a vacuum.
Like a Roomba?
No, like a pump.
Jeez.
Like the those little shoes you could.
You know that's how we talking about, Rob. Come on.
And then you like let out the pressure.
Yeah, that.
Is that what happens?
Sure, buddy.
That's what I thought.
Did you find your fact check data or did you give up?
I'm looking, but you don't have to wait on me.
Well, we're done with the podcast now.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we quite literally do have to waste time.
World Eaters did finish second at a 17-person balanced data slate event.
They're on the rise, baby. Starting small.
Cool.
Momentum, unquenchable thirst.
These are facts.
All right.
They're headed to the top.
All right. Well, good job, guys.
Good job, Wyatt.
Wyatt, you're a legend. I appreciate you. You want to take us out of here, Wyatt?
Rob?
So that's it for this one. Make sure to head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.